As a brilliant man who shall remain nameless because I don't like to brag, once said, sometimes you are the mouth, capable of beauty and poetry and song, and sometimes you are the asshole. Tonight I have the unfortunate task of being the asshole. It is my burden to convince you that Pottersville is superior to Bedford Falls, and this is impossible to do without being cynical, nay, realistic, about the state of humanity and the world. Going forward, we must strip ourselves of our idyllic delusions that the world is all sunshine and lollipops, bereft of pain and darkness. I understand that asking a room full of artists to live without their delusions is like asking a zookeeper to keep zoo without animals. But please, just pretend for a moment that you did as your parents wanted you to do, and you live a life deeply ensconced in reality. Are we all pretending? Good, and now doesn't that feel better? As I lay my arguments from end to end, it is my hope that when it is all through, you will embrace Pottervillicity. For Bedford Fallishness quickly evaporates underneath even the mildest of scrutinies. My mildest of scrutinies is fourfold and goes as such. Number one, Bedford Falls stinks of a 1984-esque dictatorial dystopia. An alleged utopia asks little of its inhabitants beyond obedience, and its inhabitants gladly concede. In Bedford Falls, you need only toe the smiley line of complacency. The boat is not to be rocked, lest the communal delusion of perfection be destroyed. What of the person who steps out of line and is grumpy or depressed? They are most likely taken out to a shed and re-educated Clockwork Orange style until they have a perma-smile and have signed a statement that they will eradicate their grumpitude. If you continue with your antisocial ways, I would imagine you are bled out like a pig being slaughtered for the Christmas ham. While there is no clear 1984 Big Brother visible in Bedford Falls, it is only because he dwells in the minds of the populace. It should be clear to us all that this self-regulation is far more menacing and sobering than a well-mustachioed man. They need no visual reminder to perpetuate the illusion of normalcy, as Big Brother is them as they are Big Brother. I ask you rhetorically, does not the convenient scapegoat of Mr. Potter, a caricature of pure money-based evil, remind you a wee bit of the never-ending war between Oceania, Eurasia, and Eastasia? Without Potter to band together against, methinks the citizens of Bedford Falls would have time enough to reflect, only to discover that the enemy dwells within and is so deeply embedded that it can never be eradicated with even the best and biggest bunker-busting bomb. Number two, art cannot thrive where there is an absence of pain. I imagine there is little art in Bedford Falls beyond porcelain figurines of children praying and commemorative plates with idyllic and syrupy scenes that would even make Norman Rockwell vomit into the pipe I like to think he smoked. If art is a reflection of the human condition, then what else could they possibly create when their condition is forever warm and fuzzy? Where there is no pain, there is no art, and without art, you are doomed to live a joyless, zombie-like existence. Number three! Bedford Falls has a serious fucking diversity problem. Bedford Falls has one black woman, and she is a goddamn maid! Pottersville, no shining example of diversity itself, at least has upwards of 10 black people, and it seems they are allowed to play jazz and enjoy themselves in the many saloons. The only seemingly foreign-born member of the Bedford Falls community is Martini, who owns the bar, and it's obvious that they let this Italian man dwell in Bedford Falls only to have a laugh at his over-the-top accent and pour them wine. Let's face it, if you are not a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, there is no place in Bedford Falls for you. Pottersville, on the other hand, understands that we are all fucked, and your color or heritage is inconsequential when put in front of this haunting truth. Number four, I dare you to try and get your dick sucked or your clit licked in motherfucking Bedford Falls. Everyone in Bedford Falls is so sweet they've forgotten that they possess genitals. They fuck only to have babies, and even then they have to apologize to God and each other for the next 2 years. In Bedford Falls, I have heard it said that you must go to church with a girl 300 times before you're allowed to even hold her hand. In Pottersville, you can barely say hello without getting oral sex. In Pottersville, oral sex has replaced the handshake as the most common greeting. Desperation breeds perversity, and I argue that this is not a bad thing in the least. Furthermore, God forbid you even have a mildly extravagant sexual fantasy as a resident of Bedford Falls. Let us, for argument's sake, say you like to get your asshole licked while a lady tap dances on your testicles to the tune of "Don't go under the apple tree with anybody else but me." In Bedford Falls, the likelihood of this taking place anywhere but your mind is slim to none, unless Mrs. Walsh or the priest over-imbibes in schnapps at Martini's bar. In Pottersville, however, you need not be ashamed of this proclivity, for there is a group that meets at the VFW every Tuesday to carry out whatever fantasy tickles your fucked up fancy. Choose Bedford Falls if you'd like, but don't come crying to me when your genitals dry up and fall off from lack of use. In closing, I ask you, what kind of world would it be if everything worked out for everyone? A predictably boring one that would be highly reminiscent of the ninth and deepest circle of hell. Pottersville is reality in all of its fucked up, sad, and beautiful glory. Bedford Falls is only accessible by sugarcoating said reality and living deeply in denial. So when you vote in a moment, please remember, Pottersville rules. Bedford Falls fucking drools. Happy holidays and have a lovely evening.